Good morning. Welcome to Road Check with CV. It's been a time where we've been reviewing a lot of LCVs, a lot of mini trucks, and today is one such day, as you can guess, with this white beauty standing behind me. Today we are out to test the Maruti Suzuki Super Carry CNG variant. Now, Super Carry is a legacy brand. It's been a brand that has been ruling the global markets for about 40 years, the Carry brand itself. And if you try and look around the Southeast Asian regions, the Carry is available in a slightly different, more upmarket, guys. The Indian Super Carry entered the market in 2016, and this is the April 2023 model in the CNG variant with lots of upgrades that make it a far more efficient vehicle. So we'll test all the claims in a short while from now on Road Check with CV. Obviously, to get inside the Super Carry, it has a high ground clearance of 160 mm. In fact, even on the front side, the nose of the vehicle is quite high. So I really can't go the conventional way. I have to turn my back at least. That's what I have figured out how to get into the carry. Hold the grab handle. As you can see, there is a side. With time, you get used to it. And finally, I am on the driver's seat. So what do you do when you first get into a vehicle? You wear the seat belt. Now, with the seat belt reminders that the Carry is equipped with, it doesn't allow you to hitch a ride out without your seat belts on. So, if I remove the seat belt with the door closed, there should be an alarm. So, if I can ask you to just come a little closer and check this, you have the seat belt indicator clearly indicating over there that the seat belts are off. There is a beep that goes off, which sadly is not happening right now, but we've checked it, and the seatbelt alarm forces you to ensure that you comply and put on your seatbelt. So very, very important when you drive, please put your seatbelts on. Now I turn the ignition on. The Super Carry is equipped with a emergency 5-liter petrol tank. It is equipped with about 70 liters of water equivalent CNG in 2 tanks split into 35 liters each. Unfortunately, petrol is near showing the end sign. So there is an option to either start the vehicle in the petrol mode, either in a forced CNG mode, or you keep it on the auto mode so the vehicle automatically switches between the desired mode. Now, since I know that the petrol is at the end, that means the vehicle has run out of petrol, I can force the vehicle to start in CNG, and that is what happens when you get stranded in some place. You are out of petrol, you can simply switch on in the CNG mode. So let's try and demonstrate that, how the vehicle starts in the CNG mode. This is the button from which you can toggle between CNG and petrol. If I long press this, you will hear a slight beep that indicates that the vehicle has shifted to the CNG mode. You hear that there is a slight click sound which shows that the vehicle is now in CNG mode, and I turn it on. So the vehicle has switched on, and that is how you get out of a limbo in case you run out of petrol. So it's been a comfortable drive with the Super Carry. The focus of the company has been on ensuring good driver ergonomics, good cabin comfort, on good power to weight ratio. At the same time, through inclusions like the engine immobilizer, there is a lot of security also. So without the key code matching the ignition system, the vehicle does not start. So those are good inclusions in the vehicle, and precisely what the driver is looking at. When it comes to the drive quality, the steering feels very light, although it is not a power assisted steering, it is a manual steering. As you can see, I was being honked at from my tail. It took me a little time to switch lanes, but in the top gears, at least from the mid to the top range, the vehicle is light in handling. When it comes to the lower gears, specifically when you are turning the vehicle a lot, the steering feels heavy. The turning radius of 4.4 meters is quite a large one to handle at that particular point in time. But as the vehicle gathers steam, then it becomes lighter and easier to handle. When you talk about the engine, the power is higher than in the previous models. So there is an optimization to have higher power ratios, higher power output in the petrol mode, in the CNG mode. The torque is at about 104 Nm. To realize this engine power, you have to go at a slightly higher RPM. So you have to go up to 6000 RPM to get the full juice out of the engine. But otherwise, at about 2900 to 3000 RPM is when you can get the full torque. That's about 104 Nm. It is mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox. And if you've seen the global models, the stick is on the dashboard, but here it is not a walk-through cabin. The stick is very much grounded to the floor and quite aligned towards the Indian market requirements. All in all, the vehicle does the job well. The instrument cluster is non-fussy. There is just an analog dial with a small window for digital inputs that help you gauge the odometer, that help you gauge the status of the CNG fuel gauge, the petrol fuel gauge. You have the dipper arrangement over here. The headlamps are slightly higher from the ground, so that again gives you a good range. Of course, it will be more clearer if you test that out at night. So this is of course in a very bright sunny afternoon. And then, as I mentioned, the fuel gauge, fuel toggle. That fuel toggle is, this is the problem. It cannot go in the CNG mode till you press it for long. It has now switched and the vehicle is now switched on. Here we go. So now vehicle on turning off at times like these doesn't come back to the forced CNG mode. So you have to again wait those extra seconds to get the vehicle back in the CNG mode. That I felt could have been addressed, where there should be some form of memory to start the vehicle in the mode it was operated in. But overall, as I said, a very, very frugal and Maruti-like vehicle that we are known to operate. डीजल के मुकाबले ठीक है सीएनजी नंबर 1. So we've had a day-long drive with the Super Carry CNG, and the reviews and the impressions are quite positive. The drive is comfortable. It reminds you of the old Maruti platforms that were very frugal, very light to handle. So on those fronts, the vehicle does quite well. Now, if you look at the company positioning, the company has tweaked this for the Indian customer. And Shashank Srivastava, who's the Senior Executive Officer, Sales and Marketing at Maruti Suzuki India Limited, says that the positioning has been particularly kept in mind, keeping in mind the Indian commercial partners. The positioning is such that the company wants to exceed expectations of the customers, and those efforts are quite visible. So all in all, the vehicle looks very, very promising. Let's have a quick look at the vehicle on a few detailings that we couldn't cover during the drive, but I can show you those details because the vehicle is stationary now. Let's look at the front badge, the front fascia. Carry doesn't change much. If you look at the global markets, the finishes of the Carry is a little more upmarket over there, but this fits the bill for the Indian customer and there are no complaints whatsoever. You can look at the headlamp arrangement. This corner protrudes a little, so and because it comes out of the body geometry, it's a little delicate perhaps, but it does the height from the ground and the high ground clearance, the approach angle and the departure angle ensure that this gives optimum on-road visibility. This is a 2-speed Viper, and now with rains coming in, they are very, very important for the next few months. Let's look at the side. Now this is a 2110 mm wheelbase. You have 13-inch Bridgestone radial tires. This is something that I want to draw your attention to. These fins are the inlet for ventilation of the brakes, and they will definitely help in optimizing the performance. If you look at, go a little inside over here, you can see the MacPherson strut suspension. It's a little rigid but does the job. You have mud flaps at the front, and you have the fenders at the rear. You have a leaf spring arrangement. The leaf spring is placed below the axle in this case, but in global markets I believe the positioning is such that it comes above the axle, giving it a slightly more a higher angle of departure, and that could be something that could be looked at for the Indian markets. You can look at the spare wheel. This of course is the reflector tape. There's a white one at the front fascia. Conventional tail lamp arrangement, again with the reflectors. These latches are not in body color but are very, very good quality. You can sense the quality, and the spring is quite good, very easy to unlock them and open the tailgate. The best part is it doesn't fall on the reverse sensor, so even while the tailgate is open, you can happily go about assessing what obstructions are there at the rear and do your job, because in other models we've seen the flap, the tailgate flaps over the sensors, and that perhaps blocks the function. You can see very solid chain links over here, and there's a rubber covering given to them. Equally easy to put them on, and it's a really, really simple high quality latch that the company has given. There are rubber bushes. Then you have the reverse sensors, which we've tested, and they are very, very effective. You have the number plate and the lights. The provision has been given over there. This load tray, of course, very, very important for all our entrepreneurs who are looking at the Super Carry. It's a 7 feet load tray, promises about 740 kgs of payload, that's 0.74 tons, and in the CNG that drops to about 625 kgs, but with the containers etc. this can go north and almost touch the 1 ton barrier, maybe slightly under 1 ton, but from a load perspective also it comes very, very good. This is the CNG fill inlet, your petrol with the E20 badge, so 20% of ethanol blend. And now coming to the interior, just a look of the cabin. It's not a walk-through cabin, very simple cabin, but it has a sliding window dividing the load tray and the cabin. The company has taken special care of ensuring driver comfort, but we would have in the non-AC models at least hoped for a blower. What they've done instead is they've given these unique blowers underneath the dash. If you can just go a little closer to show those blowers, which ensures that the gush of air from the front fascia comes to an extent in the cabin and enhances the ventilation. It's a D+1 arrangement. You have retractable seat belts. You have the seat belt alarm. The seat comes down, as well as if you can just have a look at you have the fire extinguisher, the jack right behind the seat. So if you can tilt open the seat, I can just try and show that to you. So this is how it tilts down and gives you access to the jack and the fire extinguisher. This allows you to then pull the seat up, which gives you access to the critical components. You have your coolant, the radiator, all of it that can be easily accessed from this. The flip side is, of course, it generates a bit of heat, so you feel a little warm underneath, but there is an optional AC model available from the company. These mounts are good, but as I said, the ingress could have been slightly more comfortable given the high ground clearance of the vehicle. You have the handbrake, a 5-speed gear stick that's rooted to the floor, the rack and pinion steering, a very nice clean instrument console. Perhaps the most important part of the vehicle, the toggle switch, very ergonomically placed foot pedals, good spaces for the storage as well. Looking at the international models, of course, there is a lot that can be brought in the future iterations of the Carry, and also the global models like the ones running in Vietnam have a 1.5 liter engine option. So this is a K series advanced dual VVT 1.2 liter engine, which ensures good fuel economy, good engine performance, but perhaps going forward the engine can be the model can get a higher engine. All in all, a very good package at about 5.3 lakhs ex showroom Delhi. This is an option that must be considered, and going by Shashank Srivastava, the company claims to have sold over 1.5 lakh super carries from 2016. So the vehicle holds good promise, and we see some operator interest in the vehicle. Thank you for joining us on Road Check with CV.